Welcome to Transylvania.
Alright, so I've told you a story about a nutjob who thinks he's a vampire.
I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire!
And I've told you about sparkly vampires.
Some things are better left forgotten.
So I thought it was about time that I told you a real vampire story. Here's Van Helsing.
I'm not gonna like this, am I?
So we start off with a torch and pitchfork wielding mob ramming a gate that probably wasn't locked. They're going after this doctor, Victor Frankenstein, for grave robbing, which seems like a bit of an overreaction. But imagine how they'd feel if they knew he brought someone back to life.
Oh, but that's upsetting.
See, this guy Count Dracula hired him to reanimate a corpse and wants to take ownership of the body now.
Why?
He's got his reasons, but anyone who wants to hang on to a dead body doesn't have a good one.
That's why they get so annoyed.
Well, Victor doesn't like that he wants to take his creation and threatens him with a sword, but the Count stabs himself with it and tells him that he's already dead. So Victor calls his assistant Igor for help. But even though the doctor took his ugly ass in and treated him like a person when no one else would, Igor tells him that he would help, but Dracula gave him money, instead of saying, "That motherfucker's a vampire and he'll kill me if I help you." And that's when Dracula unhinges his jaw and bites Dr. Frankenstein, and he dies.
I pity your moment of triumph is being spoiled.
Well, this pisses off the alive dead guy, and he throws some sciencey shit at him and takes Victor's body.
What purpose?
Use your imagination.
Igor sees him escaping to a windmill and yells at the dead doctor for some reason, which the angry mob somehow hears over their yelling, and they almost catch up to the dead guys as they enter the windmill that doubles as an absinthe factory. The mob decides to burn the windmill down, and as it collapses, Dracula and his overdramatic wives show up to watch their plans go up in flames.
It is not so bad.
A year later, we meet this guy Van Helsing, who hears a woman being murdered and assumes it was the giant climbing up the Notre Dame Cathedral. But when he finds him smoking a cigar like the one he found at the crime scene, he knows he found his killer. Apparently, he tracked Mr. Hyde all the way from London, where he shot him with a bullet that doesn't allow your skin to heal. But this time, he's willing to just arrest him.
Will you let me know how that goes?
But Mr. Hyde doesn't like that idea and bitch slaps Van Helsing across the room. He then comes at him using the rafters like monkey bars, and since Van Helsing wasted all his bullets already, he has to wait for him to get close so he can use his portable circular saws on him.
You ever see these things before?
Mr. Hyde then traps him under a bell, but he uses the saws to cut a hole in the floor. When Hyde lifts the bell over his head, Van Helsing's first priority is to get his hat back and then attack the giant by cutting off his arm that's holding the bell up. This pisses off Mr. Hyde, and he throws him onto the roof, and then tosses him off of it. But Van Helsing has a grappling hook and shoots it through Mr. Hyde, who then uses the rope to pull Van Helsing back up. But he doesn't look where he's going, and trips over the ledge and falls off the roof, and he dies.
You got me good.
As Van Helsing looks over the ledge, a cop sees him from 200 feet off the ground and recognizes him, and is like, "Even though I know who and where you are, I'll get you one of these days."
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
He then goes to the Vatican, and we find out that he's part of a secret society.
Secret society, secret society.
The Order are religious cops who investigate monsters and other evil crap. And for his next case, they're sending him to Romania to help these gypsies, Belkin and Anna, kill Dracula because their dumbass ancestor told God that none of their family would go to heaven until they killed him.
Well, that was stupid.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, they're the last two in the bloodline. So if they die before they shit out some kids, they're all going to hell.
God damn you, God damn you.
He already has.
But their super great grandpa left something with the Order, a corner of some document, but no one knows what it goes to. He also reveals a symbol on it that's the same as the ring Van Helsing wears. He then goes to meet with the science nerd, Carl. He makes gadgets for the Order, like retractable stakes, machine gun crossbows, and this other thing that he's not sure what it's for.
That's a surprise tool that can help us later.
But Carl's gonna go with him to Transylvania, because he's a nerd, and they need a nerd to figure out how to kill Dracula.
I read.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
There, the Valeris siblings are using Velkin as bait to try to capture a werewolf.
Why would you risk dying and having your whole family burn in hell over a werewolf?
This is a little insulting.
Because Dracula uses them as errand boys, and they could ask it where his lair is once he turns back into a human. But instead, they just cage it and shoot at it. But it can only die with a silver bullet, so they're just pissing it off.
I fear we are not so smart.
And when the cage drops, it gets loose and starts chasing Anna. She gets to a cliff where she's about to get killed, but her brother somehow got out of a tree, found his gun, and outran a pissed off werewolf to push her out of the way, only to go off the cliff into a river.
They just died.
Then when Van Helsing and Carl get to Transylvania, they find that all the townspeople are armed for some reason and stare at him for a while they try to have a casual conversation about Van Helsing being immortal, but also suffering from amnesia.
You don't remember, do you?
The leader from the mob before greets them, and then Anna shows up, ready to fight in her stripper boots and a corset.
She's very classy.
She tells him to fuck off, but Dracula's brides attack.
And suddenly this bat comes swooping down out of nowhere.
He tries to shoot him with his machine gun crossbow, but only manages to hit literally everything else.
I was in Mortal Kombat with a fucking bat! Give me a break!
Then the sun comes out, and the attack stops. They hear something in the well, and then are surprised when they can't see anything down there. But then, the sun goes behind a cloud, and one of them flies out and grabs Anna. So now that the pretty girl's in danger, Van Helsing decides to aim. And this causes the bride to drop Anna on a roof, who then jumps crotch first into a tree to gracefully get down.
Such an Rosia.
She runs into a building, but is greeted with another bride who sounds like Elmo.
Hello, Anna.
And when Anna tries to escape, Alira teleports and bitch slaps Anna out a window.
I was mad at you!
Van Helsing goes full auto again with Mariska, but when she comes out of the house, we see that the stakes don't work on her, and also that her human clothes are somehow part of her vampire body.
I mean, I'm fighting this bat off all alone, and I'll be damned if I didn't get really turned on.
So since they aren't working, Carl suggests that he dip him in holy water. He needs to not only get his gun, but then get to the church to get his little stick wet before she gets to him. When he tries, she slaps him around a bit, but he lands right next to his crossbow.
Convenient.
She then stupidly flies up real high to celebrate, so he's able to make it to the church and bless his stake because she forgot how to teleport. So she gets shot several times and nailed to a roof. And this is really lucky for Anna, because the other two brides were about to kill her and put an end to the last remaining person who was actively trying to kill Dracula. But they sense their friend got a boo-boo, so they give up and fuck off.
They seem almost desperate to finish off my family.
And after they're gone, Mariska then turns back into a human and she dies. So the townsfolk come out of hiding and are pissed off because he killed a bride.
Why?
Well, they think that they just came to town for lunch, and they're cool with one or two people getting eaten, but now they're gonna kill people because they're pissed off. But Anna tells them that he's Van Helsing, and they're like,
Why didn't you say that in the first place? That's a horse of a different color! Come on in!
Apparently the other two brides didn't think it was important enough to wake up Dracula when Mariska died, so he wakes up sad and wondering why anyone would want to hurt them, and then casually says that he'll find her a replacement soon.
Bastard.
I have no heart!
Back in Transylvania, Anna says that this castle used to be Dracula's, and that her dad would stare at this map on the wall trying to figure out where Dracula lives.
Why would a map in Dracula's house have the location of his new house?
I know. At best, it might have a "you are here" arrow on it, but it's not like he added his dream house on a map hoping to manifest it or some shit.
Why can't I have one of those?
So Anna mentions that there's a family archive in the tower, so Carl fucks off to go look at some photo albums or whatever, and then she tells Van Helsing that she's gonna go hunt for Dracula because she's the last one in her family and no one else is gonna help her. And he's like, that's why I'm here. And she's like, that's right, not a single person is brave enough to join me on my quest. So when she tries to leave, he knocks her the fuck out. And when she wakes up, she goes to the armory where there's an open window. But then she sees werewolf tracks and grabs a gun. And thanks to a severe drooling problem, she looks up and shoots it in the face. But a cloud covers the moon, so when she turns, she finds out that it's her brother.
Hello, brother.
He says that he knows Dracula's secret, and then immediately transforms back into a werewolf, which for some reason involves doing the backstroke up a wall. But when Van Helsing comes in, he fucks off. So he goes into town after him, and while looking for him, he runs into the leader of the mob, who also happens to be the gravedigger, which probably explains why he was so pro-angry mob killing somebody. But after he tries to kill Van Helsing, he apologizes, and then gets tackled by the werewolf, and he dies. Then Van Helsing tries to shoot the wolf, but Anna stops him.
Werewolves are not good company to keep.
He tells her that Velkin's a monster now, and she gets pissed off at him for trying to kill him because there's a rumor that Dracula has a cure.
I could have used that information a little earlier.
But he's all she has left, so he's like, fine, let's try to save him. So they follow his tracks, and that leads them to a creepy old abandoned castle outside of town.
Hold on. They're looking for Dracula's lair, and they never checked out the creepy old castle right outside of town.
Well, this is Frankenstein's castle, and like I said, it's abandoned.
Yeah, because all the people from their town chased him away.
Well, she does bring that up to Van Helsing, who reminds her that her dad went missing about the same time. And she's like, those two things are definitely not connected. But it turns out that he got kidnapped and hooked up to Frankenstein's machine. And then Dracula left his body there to rot for a year, so Velkin could see it. Then he's hooked up to the machine, which Dracula thinks will run better since he's a werewolf.
But Dracula already had a werewolf.
Shut up. Maybe you didn't think about it until Velkin got transformed.
Certifiable genius.
So Dracula controls his army of munchkins, and Anna overhears them saying that they're about to use Velkin in the machine. So since he's still alive at the moment, Van Helsing tells her to just take the L on her brother, and that they need to go kill Dracula. Then they run into a room full of egg sacs, like the ones the gremlins were in, but these have electrodes hooked up to them. See, when vampires bang and have babies, their kids are born dead, so they need to bring them to life, which is why Dracula hired Dr. Frankenstein in the first place. But if all of these vampires are born, they're gonna kill way more people than just 1 or 2 people a month.
This could turn into a bloodbath.
And that's when Igor turns on the machine, and the snotty sacs start moving. They cut one open to see what's inside, and they get attacked by a bunch of baby gargoyles. Their parents are like, oh, they're so cute,
And we love you.
while everyone else is like,
That's a fucking ugly baby.
So the brides go show the babies how to feed, and Dracula's like, fuck, I really hope they stay alive this time. But Igor is saying that Velkin wasn't a good fit for the machine, and it's losing power. But it might be losing power since Dracula knocked some shit down when he was looking for Van Helsing. But he finds him when he jumps down and stakes him in the heart.
And he dies.
No. He just looks at him and says, "Hi, Gabriel." See, they've known each other for centuries, but Van Helsing has amnesia, so Dracula's like, "I'll help you get your memory back." But Van Helsing just tries to kill him again, and he's like, "Okay, maybe later." And that's when Anna gets to Velkin. He's still a dude because apparently electricity stops the moon or something, but she unhooks him and he starts to transform. And him being disconnected from the machine makes all the babies explode.
What? How?
I have no fucking clue. Those things were miles away killing a bunch of people, and it's not like if you have somebody jumpstart your car and you make it all the way home and then your car blows up because they turn theirs off. So if this is happening, 1, it's stupid, and 2, why would they use someone who would just die? If not from the electricity, then surely from dehydration. But Van Helsing escapes using a dumbwaiter that conveniently goes all the way up to the observation deck that Anna's on, and they're gonna zip line into the woods that's like 4 miles away. But Werewolf Velkin jumps on the line, and it snaps, and they end up swinging to safety while he falls into the river. Again. They go to the remains of the old windmill, where Anna asks about his family, since she's given up on her brother. And he says that finding out about his past is the only thing that gets him out of bed in the morning.
How can he say that with a straight face after trying to murder the guy who was going to help him remember?
Yeah, I don't think he sees the irony. But then the floor gives out, and they fall into a cave. When they wake up, they find Frankenstein's monster, who Van Helsing tries to shoot. But he attacks him, and then goes after Anna, who asks what he wants. He just wants to live.
I want to live!
But when she pulls her gun on him, Van Helsing stops her, and the monster tells her that she should do it. See, he's what Dracula needs to keep the machine going, even though he also needs to eat and all that other crap. But if he finds him, all of his babies will stay alive, and that should scare him, because all the ones from last night were just from one birth from one bride. But I'm not sure how he knows this, since he was only alive for maybe 5 minutes before he ended up in the cave, and he never spoke to anyone. But if he's right, those brides must need some serious feminine hygiene products.
Wow, look at all the fun things to do!
They then notice that Werewolf Velkin saw them and is heading back to tell Dracula, instead of just taking him now. And considering the windmill's next door to the castle, I'm pretty sure Dracula could have just scooped him up before the sun came up too. But they don't, so now they have until nightfall to get the monster to Rome.
Well, how long did the trip take before?
Like a few weeks. So back at her castle, Carl tells Van Helsing that he saved a woman and then asked her to bang him as a reward. And while in the afterglow of his sexcapades, he found a painting that came alive and showed a werewolf fighting Dracula. But he doesn't know what that means.
I don't know.
Later that night, Van Helsing gets picked up by one of the brides, but he grabs her wing and she drops him, luckily back on one of the horses. But he saw that the upcoming bridge was out, so he jumps from horse to horse back to the carriage to make the horses go faster to jump it. Well, the horses make it, but the carriage gets knocked loose and falls off the cliff. So the brides go down to save the monster, but Alira stupidly landed on the wheel and got dizzy or something.
Oh, we're having a great time.
And tells Verona to save him, but they pulled a sneaky and filled the carriage with explosives and stakes, making it basically a vampire claymore. And it hits the bottom of the ravine, and she dies.
So where's the monster?
He's on another road with Anna and Carl. But I'm not sure how they missed it when they were flying, and the road's like 30 feet that way. But when Van Helsing joins them, Velkin jumps on the carriage and sets it on fire. Anna and Van Helsing fell off, and Anna might fall off a cliff, so Carl needs to help her up, but Van Helsing might get his penis crushed, so Carl frees the monster to save his friend's wiener.
I'll bet it's beautiful.
So when they get to safety, Velkin attacks, so everyone jumps off. In the morning, they all wake up, because apparently jumping off a moving horse and buggy will knock you the fuck out no matter how you land, but Anna finds human Velkin and he dies. See, before he jumped, Van Helsing got a shot off, and I guess he anticipated him coming and loaded his gun with silver bullets. So Anna's mad at Van Helsing, but finds out that Velkin bit him, and when she backs away from the man who won't transform until the next full moon, she bumps into Alira, who knocks her the fuck out and takes her away.
Why didn't she just take the monster? He's probably like right there.
I don't know, but she better hope that the sun doesn't come out because she's got a long way to fly.
I'm on his way.
Actually, she doesn't, because it turns out she just took her to the next town where she offers to trade Anna for the monster, who again is literally right in front of her.
Oh, hi.
Van Helsing agrees, and the monster's like, what the fuck? But he doesn't want to make the exchange in private, so she suggests that they do it at the Halloween ball tomorrow night. And then she fucks off, and Van Helsing knocks out the monster and hides him in the cemetery so he won't run away. At the ball, Dracula has Anna under a charm spell, but when he kisses her, it breaks. But she still dances with him, because why not? He tells her that he wants to make her one of his brides, as it's revealed to her that everyone at the ball is a vampire.
I don't know if you've looked in the mirror lately, but you kind of stick out in the crowd.
And this whole situation makes you wonder why he wants to breed new babies when he can just transform people.
I guess I was pretty horny.
And as he's about to turn her, Carl bumps into a fire breather who sets Dracula on fire, and Van Helsing swings on a trapeze onto a rope that he perfectly cuts to grab Anna and get to a balcony. But then Igor shows up with the monster.
Monster! Who's the monster here?
Well, how'd they find him?
Well, it's a city full of vampires. Surely one of them sleeps in the cemetery. And now that Dracula has what he needs, he tells the group of vampires that they can kill him. So Anna thinks that she can take him on.
He's the first one to kill a vampire in over 100 years.
But Van Helsing tells her to run. They meet up with Carl, who's finally figured out what he can use his tool for.
Everybody say, oh, toodles!
It goes off, shooting out so much UV light that all the vampires die. But not before they jump out a window that conveniently has a river outside of it.
So they got Dracula too?
No, he managed to fuck off before the blast, because he wanted to hook the monster up to the machine. But when they get back to Castle Frankenstein, the machine's gone. So they need to figure out where his real castle is. They think the painting that her dad always looked at was somehow a door to get to his lair, but he just didn't know how to open it.
You don't know what you're doing! Damn it!
But Van Helsing just happens to have the piece of fabric they had in Rome in his pocket, so Carl can now read the inscription. And this means that when their super great grandpa gave the order to the corner, he basically damned the bloodline, since none of them would be able to open the door, even though they were charged with killing Dracula.
Seriously, you had one job.
Also, Dracula is their super great uncle, who's just trying to marry his distant relative.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
So Van Helsing reads the inscription, and the wall turns into a mirror. They walk through and find Castle Dracula. And Carl tries to go back, but can't. So instead of seeing if the door's unlocked, Van Helsing grabs the two of them and parkours up the wall. See, he's already started turning into a werewolf. They only have until the final stroke of midnight before he's completely a werewolf and becomes Dracula's bitch.
But you said he has till the next full moon.
That's tonight.
But it was just a full moon a couple days ago.
Maybe the moon works different in Europe. It's the fucking metric system or some shit.
Americans.
But they run into Igor and take him captive. Then they see the monster who tells Van Helsing that Dracula does in fact have a werewolf cure. But I don't know how he knows this because he's frozen in a block of ice and has only been there for like 4 hours. I guess the Munchkin army must have big mouths or something. But that's when Carl puts 2 and 2 together and realizes that he has the cure because a werewolf is the only thing that can kill him. So it's a real good thing that Carl extorted sex from that lady earlier.
I'm sure this is some sort of sin.
See, if there was a werewolf who wanted to kill him bad enough, Dracula could change him back before he could do it.
So her brother, who spent his entire life trying to kill Dracula, didn't want it bad enough?
I guess not.
I would rather die than help you.
That is false.
And that's including the time he was standing over his father's dead body while Dracula told him about what a horrible death he had.
Werewolves are such a nuisance during their first full moon. So hard to control.
So Van Helsing goes to look for Dracula, while Anna and Carl have Igor take him to the cure under the threat of emasculation. When they get to it, Igor locks him in the room and fucks off.
Nasty little fellows such as yourself always get their comeuppance.
They do?
The cure's in a liquid that Carl suspects is acid, but then Alira shows up to kill him.
Elmo's so happy to see you.
So Anna pushes the jar, and the acid burns Alira's face. She then melts some of the bars on the gate and tells Carl to take the cure to Van Helsing. Alira then tornado spins all the torches out and plays hide and seek with Anna. Then Carl gets to the bridge between the two towers and is afraid of all the lightning, so he doesn't want to go. but Igor comes out with a cattle prod and chases him across the bridge.
It's what I do.
Van Helsing gets to the lab, where the Munchkins were very quick at reassembling this machine. And the monster's already hooked in, and lucky for Dracula, he chose a castle with great winter storms. So he parkours up to the monster and starts to release him, but he manages to take a bolt of lightning, which starts the birthing process.
But you're supposed to die!
Dracula sees Van Helsing freeing him and turns into Batman to stop him. He knocks him down to the lab, but the monster isn't quite free and another bolt wakes up the kiddos. But there's so much electricity that the monster gets shot off the machine, which is the exact opposite of how electricity works.
Got it.
But he falls off the edge and onto a wire that's there for some reason, and he manages to swing down and save Carl. And Igor falls off the bridge and he dies.
Goodbye, Benny.
The monster gets caught hanging over the side, and Carl doesn't want to save him. But the monster's like, save me! And Carl's like, okay, and pushes a fire pit to free the line, which makes him swing right into the room that Anna's about to get dead in. And he offers to hold Alira back while she goes to help Van Helsing. So Dracula meets up with Van Helsing, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you. And he transforms into a werewolf right as the clock strikes midnight. So instead of flying away for 12 seconds so he can take control over him, he's just like, come at me, bro. And they start fighting. Well, the bridge was struck by lightning, so Carl can't get across. But luckily, Anna swings down, grabs another rope in the rain, and then has Carl throw the cure while she's swinging past.
But you can do that.
She catches it, but then Alira flies by and kicks her into the building. And when she goes to kill her, Carl not only found the courage to cross the broken bridge, but throws Anna a silver stake, and she stabs Alira, and she dies.
Of course I'm gonna die.
But just as Werewolf Van Helsing has Bat Dracula and is ready to bite him, the moon hides behind a cloud and he goes back to normal. But that's when Dracula tells him that he's really Gabriel the Archangel. So that must be why this is the longest 12 seconds in history. And when Van Helsing says he doesn't give a shit, he turns back into a werewolf, bites Dracula, and he dies. And then all the babies explode too.
Because if we kill him, anything bitten by him or created by him will also die.
Damn it.
Anna goes to give him the cure, but he tackles her, so Carl takes the stake and goes to kill him. But he turns to show that he got injected, but Anna's dead. And that's when Van Helsing turns back into a man to cry about it.
Oh, well, it's a good thing they have a machine that brings people back from the dead.
It's alive!
Yeah, but they're not gonna do that. See, her whole thing was stopping Dracula so her family could get into heaven.
It doesn't matter what happens to me. We must save my family.
So since she doesn't have anything to live for, they just let her stay dead.
You're not good to me dead.
But they are nice enough to give her a funeral overlooking the sea because she never got to see it when she was alive.
I've never been to the sea.
And then he sees her ghost meet up with her family, and they're all like, thanks, bro. So he feels pretty good about himself, especially when he sees that the monster got away too. Alright, I know that wasn't the greatest vampire story, but it was written by the same guy who did The Mummy, so you gotta cut me a little slack.
Your reputation precedes you.
It must now serve my purpose. What purpose? Good God!
But isn't that a good thing?
They never do that.
Really?
Everybody knows that.
That's not good. I would rather die than help you. Are you always this popular?
Pretty much.
Do we mean so little to you?
No one can help me.
I can try.
You can't go until I say you can go.